Welcome to First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis, the birthplace of congregational humanism. We carry on that tradition of free thought today, dedicated to promoting a free search for truth, meaning, and justice. Our web address is firstunitarian.org. I'm David Breeden, Senior Minister. Welcome. Welcome to First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis. It's going to be a big day. Thanks for coming out, those of you who are here, and we welcome our online audience as well. If everyone would look to your left and your right and just say, I'm so glad you're here today. I'm so glad you're here today. All right. We're all glad we're here. That's great. First Unitarian Society is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations. We are an intentionally and radically inclusive congregational humanist community dedicated to fostering a free search for knowledge and meaning, striving for justice, and serving one another, the Twin Cities and beyond. Now, just a note, we will be having some people singing on the floor today here unmasked. So if you're worried about that, you might want to move back just a little bit. So just keep an eye there. We value compassion and integrity, and we love it that you are here today because it's a big day and after assembly. Yes, those of you who are in the building are all invited to a farewell reception in Lower Assembly Hall. Right after assembly, exit, go downstairs, and Rev Jim will be heading downstairs right after the closing musical number, so we won't have a bottleneck up here. We'll have a bottleneck downstairs. He'll be happy to stick around to talk to everyone who wants to say hello. There will also be a basket for cards if you'd like to drop one off, and we'll have coffee, tea, and three kinds of cake to meet various dietary restrictions, etc. Also, we will have a vegan cake. We ask that folks please wear your masks when you're not eating or drinking, and please mask when talking with Rev Jim. We don't want to leave him with anything except a present for next week. We'll also have a TV set up for those who would like to check out a slower, expanded version of the slideshow that we will be showing this morning. Glad to see everybody. We're really, really glad you're here. Welcome.
Jim selected all the music for today. It's special to him from various services that he's put together over his many years here at FUS. This song he especially loved when Heather Martins and Julia Moore sang it at our online Valentine's Talent Show in 2021. You remember the online Valentine's Talent Show? They did this lovely a cappella version of this song, and Jim just loved it and wanted them to do it today. They were unable to do so, and so we hope to do them proud with a different arrangement of Light of a Clear Blue Morning.
1, 2,
3.
gonna be okay. It's been a long, long time since I've known the taste of freedom. Those clinging vines that had me bound when I don't need 'em. I've been like a captured eagle, but an eagle's born to fly. But since I have found my freedom, I am eager for the sky. 'Cause I can see the light of a clear blue morning. 'Cause I can see the light of a brand new day. I can see the light of a clear blue morning. And everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay. Yes, I can see the light of a clear blue morning. Yes, I can see the light of a brand new day. I can see the light of a clear blue morning. Everything's gonna be alright. Oh, everything's gonna be alright. Said everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay.
Each week when we gather, we light our chalice and we hear one of our 7 UU principles or one of our FUS aspirations. Today, Lena Hunt is here to represent a generation of chalice lighters who I have helped train here at FUS. I see Adela out there. I know many of them are an owl. Some of them are in college, so I'm glad Lena was able to be here. And we lit the chalice today for our first aspiration, which is to live joyfully and ethically in loving, reverent relationship with humanity and nature.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Ted Olsen. I'm the interim music director, and I'd like to welcome up a group of our volunteer choir members that was able to wrangle at the last minute. So thanks, everybody, for volunteering. Yeah. We thought we'd send off Jim in style. And so if this is something you're interested, please reach out to me after today, or you can email me at music@firstunitarian.org. And yeah, we're going to teach you a song called Love One Another. So you can pick your favorite part, and we'll start. There's 3 different ones, but whichever one you like. And we're going to try all 3. So here's the low one. 1, 2, 3. Let us love, let us serve, let us honor one another. Yes, so let us love, let us serve, let us honor one another. Yes, so let us love. Yeah. And now we'll try the next one.
All right, so
That's great.
so now I'll teach you the melody. So it goes like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Love one another, serve one another, honor one another, as equals hand in hand. Love one another, serve one another, honor one another. That's how we understand. And then if you want to go high today, 1, 2, 3. Let us love, let us love, love, love. Let us love, let us love, love, love.
Okay. Kevin, kick us off. All right, low part. Ready? Here we go. Let us love, let us serve, let us honor one another. Yes, so let us love, let us serve, let us honor one another. Yes, so let us love, let us serve, let us honor one another. Yes, so let us love, let us serve, let us honor one another. Yes, so let us love, let us serve, let us honor one another. Yes, so let us
Wow. Way to go. If you will still stay standing here a moment, we will read together our congregational covenant. Love is the spirit of this place, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please be seated.
Now is our time for all ages. And so if we have any young ones in the assembly hall who would like to come forward? None. They've all gone downstairs? No, look, no, some coming. Yay. Come on, come right up. Way to represent. Good morning, good morning. Come have a seat right here. Do you like gift giving? How do you like gift receiving? Both? I like gift giving and gift receiving both. Well, today is a day that we are giving and receiving. And two tests of what it means to be in community and congregational life are to be able to give and receive together. And you, young people, have created a gift for Rev Jim. And I have a couple of things to say about it, and then we're going to give it to him and see what he has to say, okay? So here we go. The youth and the volunteers of our religious education program are presenting a gift that you all had a hand in making. Hold that thought. You've chosen to center the words inspired by one of the smartest voices, the prophetic voices in the work of nonviolent resistance to oppression. Those are big words. Nonviolent resistance to oppression. Guess what? It will not be the last time that you hear those words. We all hear those words and struggle to really understand what they mean. Mahatma Gandhi, he had the wisdom to share this about someone that he loved who was leaving. And he said, "There are no goodbyes for us. Wherever you are, you will always be in our hearts." So that's what you and we all are saying to Rev Jim today. And you may not know this, but Rev Jim has been a really strong supporter of the youth in this congregation. And you know, the way you do religious education here is in part because of the way he has supported this program.
And with that in mind, we're going to give him this gift. And so will you help me give this gift to him? He hasn't even seen it yet. Will you help me hand this to him? Just be really careful and hand it over to him. Can you do it? Okay, here we go. Yeah, yes, the real.
Thank you. It says the quote that we heard. There are no goodbyes for us. Wherever you will always be in our hearts. And there are hands of people I know on here. Very cool. I have a place for this already in my home office. Thank you. I'll just say very quickly, I will say that one of the things I loved about my job is that I have... Oh, sure. Thank you, Vanna. One of the things I have loved about my job is I've told people it goes from 0 to 100, and I don't mean speed. I mean I get to work with people who are 0 years old, and I've gotten to work with people who are 100 years old. And I like the fact that I get to talk to all the generations and work with everybody. And it's been great. So thank you all for being part of that and making it happen. All right. Now we sing, right? We are now going to sing the kids to their classes. Remember that old tradition? We're doing that again. All right. Yes. The words will be, there they are.
Okay, well, we aren't passing the basket these days. We hope to get back to that practice and maybe next week even, but we're holding off a little bit, trying to see what's going to happen next with the latest of the variants. Just imagine this wonderful basket going around, and you can access it not physically, but other ways, okay? The easiest way to give is on our website. Go right on to firstunitarian.org and click the Give link at the upper right-hand corner. That works. We also have PayPal. We also have the Banco mobile app. And you can also send us a check. And we will have our electronic kiosk out and around after assembly today. For those who are in the building and would like to contribute, you can also stop by the office and say, hey, here's a check. Thank you very much for supporting First Unitarian Society.
On Sundays when we gather, we take a few moments to reflect on the joys, the sorrows, and the milestones of the human experience. We do this so that we stay in touch with our own humanity. We do this to remind ourselves of the value of a moment of stillness. And we do this so that no one among us is alone, either in celebrating joy or in facing the burdens of life. We now take a moment of silence to reflect on the challenges and the heartbreak going on in our lives and across the world. And we think with gratitude of all those who are living lives of justice, service, and compassion. Let us now share a moment of silence.
Ours is a simple faith. Life is a short embrace.
Start that again. Yeah, I'm not so simple.
Simply put.
Ready?
I think so.
We'll try it again.
Ours is a simple faith. Life is a short embrace. Heaven is in this place every day. Hope is the ground we till. Each day what you will. Thankful for dreams fulfill every day. There is no hell to fear, no judgment day drawing near. Trust that inner voice you hear every day. Life's not a goal or race. It's about heart and faith and living a life of grace every day. Ours is a simple faith. Life is a short embrace. Heaven is in this place every day.
Oh, friends, it's today. Today filled with excitement and love and gratitude and sadness and music and cake. It's so lovely to see so many of you here, faces we haven't seen in a long time. Your presence here, a testament to the ways that Jim Fode's person and ministry has touched this congregation over his 8 years here. And I said earlier, this service will take as long as it takes. Take off your watches. It's a little bit like a Baptist service today. To say a goodbye this thoroughly, it will just take as long as it takes. When I arrived here in 2015, David and Jim were already partners in ministry. And the three of us rather mockingly styled ourselves as the Troika. And we meet each week. We have met each week, the Troika meeting, to discuss matters of the congregation and matters of the wider community and what is happening in our own lives. We have truly been partners in ministry. You have commented over the years how each of us has brought something different to the leadership of FUS. And indeed, Jim referred back to our former careers using a little bit of shorthand, referring to David as the poet and himself as the journalist and me as the actor. And there was some truth, there remains some truth in that shorthand. More importantly, Jim shared his most important maxim, and this has been perhaps my deepest learning in ministry from him. My question has always been about what does the world need and how can the congregation help fill that need? But Jim's question, as an institutionalist, Jim's question is, what does the congregation need? And I think that's so important, and he has helped turn my ministry to ask that question. And I've appreciated so much his insights and the way he knows you, and has brought that knowledge to his ministry with tenderness and humor and joy and a demand for us to be the best that we can be. It is a gift, a true gift indeed, to be a colleague and a friend. And it leaves with us a legacy to continue to be that. Just so you know, one of the most important parts that Jim has done here is his work with congregational care. And that part of his portfolio now lands with me. And I am grateful and humbled to now have that part of the portfolio in my work life. Jim, we wish you well, and we know that as a free-range minister, we will hear lots of the good things you will do in the world, and we hope to do you proud.
Well, good morning. I wish I could be with everyone in person today to share in the love and appreciation for someone who has made a lasting impact on FUS and on many of us individually as well. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, thank you, Jim. Thank you for your quiet, gentle presence, your ability to listen for what is possible, for what is missing, and for what would make a difference, and your gentle comments and thoughtful insights that helped us be our better selves. We will miss you in the board meetings. I had the honor and privilege of serving on Jim's Ministerial Fellowship Committee, and over those 3 years, watched Jim grow and develop his ministry and plant the seeds for subtle and profound changes at FUS. Some that are visible to all of us, like joys and sorrows and a time for all ages during Sunday assemblies, and others less visible, like spearheading the switch to a more robust membership database. When Jim started at FUS 8 years ago, we had one basic requirement for our ministers: provide intellectually challenging and stimulating sermons. We didn't expect ministers to provide pastoral care, and probably many of us didn't even know what that would look like. But Jim changed that. And not just the expectation that members could turn to ministers for pastoral care, Jim helped create a culture of caring at FUS. He began by uplifting the work of the caring team as important and vital to the life of the congregation. And he helped the team expand with new members and introduced simple things like the card basket so that anyone could write a note to let someone know people were thinking of them and holding them in their hearts. He organized meal trains and the Sunday valets. These were simple things that make a difference. Jim has a knack for seeing our talents and with quiet encouragement, providing support so that we stretch just a bit beyond what we think we can do. Jim brings empathy, compassion, warmth, and responsiveness to everything he does. He has awakened in us a caring community. At the beginning of Jim's ministry, he often seemed surprised when told he had made a difference. Jim, I hope you are no longer surprised, and that you know you will continue to make a difference. Be well. We will miss you.
The Unitarian Universalist and Humanist traditions ask both a little and a lot of our ministers. A little, as Shelley was mentioning, in that our traditions and our ministers are really not expected to, well, certainly speak for the gods. A lot in that, in our tradition. So, who are we speaking for? That's always a good question, right? But we don't speak with authority of the gods. We ministers must therefore do what we can to be useful to people who, thank you, pay our salaries. To say that ministry is odd is an understatement. All occupations have an element of imposter syndrome ready built for the practitioner, sure, but for liberal clergy, the wall between imposter and professional is especially thin. We liberal clergy make no pretense about being fallible human beings. We are real fallible. We promise to do our best, all the while knowing that our best will not be good enough. There simply aren't enough hours in the day. Still, somewhere in the minds of many, maybe all of us, back in those dark corners where the dusty file cabinets live, most of us have some kind of atavistic streak. We still believe that clergy knows something, that they can do something almost magical. Well, we can't. The role of assistant minister is especially fraught. FUS opened its doors as a congregation in 1881. The meeting minutes for 1882 ask if FUS can afford an assistant minister. And it's sort of been that way ever since. That question has been asked for, 141 years now, and I do need to consult our historians, but I think that Rev Jim is the longest serving assistant minister in FUS history. Watching the senior minister make incredibly stupid decisions is, of course, the hardest part for an assistant minister, as you can imagine. Appearances to the contrary, I'm not about to burst into a chorus of a minister's life is not a happy one. I've known a lot of ministers over the years. It's an occupational hazard of being one. In the case of some ministers, you can see the person squirming under the professional presence. In other ministers, well, they wear it well, but still they're gritting their teeth underneath. And still other ministers are ministers through and through. And such, I can say, is Rev Jim Fody, a minister through and through. Now, I know that Rev Jim has struggled with lots of sticky wickets during his time as minister here, but that's just it. Jim struggled with the sticky wickets and wholeheartedly dealt with what needed to be done. Therefore, when he dealt with a need, he had already struggled and prepared so that he could be that minister through and through. Thinking things through and then doing what needs to be done is Rev Jim's superpower. An old saying goes that the three most difficult things to say in English are "I was wrong," "I'm sorry," and "Worcestershire sauce." Well, I want to say three difficult things to Jim. I was wrong, I'm sorry, Worcestershire sauce. And now let's have a gift, shall we? Come on up, Rev. And now, Rev Jim, many folks have had a hand in making your goodbye a good one. Martha Hardesty, who has arranged the festivities downstairs. Thank her very much. Jesse Strasser, who baked those cakes you're going to enjoy downstairs.
Of which there are 4 flavors.
Oh, there are 4. Well, they have multiplied. We're 3. Thanks to Dave Lessler for working on our kitchen team, Bob Adderhold, who created the digital archive of many of Jim's talks. That wasn't easy, but thanks, Bob, for finding some of them, most of them. He found all of them. That took a lot of hours, actually, because of changing technology. You know, I mean, you realize we do have cassette tapes laying around here still, and handwritten notes, so, you know, we're a little bit backwards sometimes. But thanks, Bob. And also, Nasser Pouladian made something truly, truly amazing. Do you want to say something about that as we present it to Jim?
Yes.
Got it.
I don't know if Nasser has arrived yet. When last seen, he was dealing with the generator, the sump pump, and the power outage in Western Roseville this morning. Are you here? I guess not. Yeah. Okay. Nasser made this. He designed it and executed it. And so we'd like, Jim, if you'd like to open that up. Well, Reverend Jim, you have sent us.
Yep. There you go. Yeah.
You have sent us your Dear John letter, but please know that you will forever be our Dear Jim.
Yeah. On display downstairs, and yes, we'll take that so Jim can speak.
Well, I was going to do a round of thank yous, but I think I will do just quickly thank everybody. I knew today was a big production and there were lots of people involved. We had a huge crew of musicians, food people, Bob's project. I asked if I could have audio and video copies of all my talks, and I didn't know it was going to take him a good chunk of his life to compile them. But I now have 64 talks in a Dropbox. If I ever, in my old age, I can put them on play when I'm sitting home alone now. And I want to say a big thanks to Rev Kelli, who championed this, who took the ball and really ran with it. She has been the hostess with the mostest, the singer, the planner, and everything. She's also been the best workplace spouse imaginable. So. And thank you all for being here and for everyone who's tuning in online. So some of you who have been here for a while already know this, but my time here at FUS started as an experiment. Not long after Reverend David arrived here in 2013, it became clear that there was plenty of work for more than one minister. David had a couple of part-time interns helping out, but they were going to go away, and the workload was not. And so, with a 1-year grant from the FUS Foundation, a half-time assistant ministry position was born. And I was so extremely fortunate to get that job. It was really an experiment involving all of us, and 8 years later, we can declare it a success. FUS was able to support and even expand my position. This experiment succeeded because this congregation places a high value on professional ministry, and because you and I have worked so well together. I have said before, and I will say for eternity, that I am so grateful to Reverend David for taking a chance on a minister fresh out of the box. When I started, my specific duties were laid out in my letter of agreement, things like pastoral care and adult programming. But it was the overarching charge that David gave me that was perhaps the most important. I don't remember exactly how he said it, but he basically told me, "Jim, I mostly just need you to be yourself." I knew almost immediately what he meant. I said, "Oh, you need me to be a good-natured humanist who likes and cares about people. I can do that." And what a tremendous privilege it has been. So many jobs in this world involve paying people to do things they'd never otherwise do. And here I was, getting to bring my full self to my role. Not every day has been perfect, of course. Every career has its moments and ups and downs. But more days than not, I would come to work filled with gratitude. I get to be a minister today. One of the pillars of my ministry is hospitality, striving to make this congregation and the world at large more welcoming to more kinds of people. And the core operating question of my ministry has been, what do they need? What do you need? The answers to that question have been ever-changing, ranging from highly individualized situations to the best interests of the institution as a whole. My answers to that question, what do they need, have come from training and intuition, research and consultation, best guesses, and most importantly, relationship. Sometimes people don't quite know what they need. You're in a crisis, or you're dealing with the trees right in front of you and not seeing the forest, or you simply don't know what the options are out there. Relationships have helped us work together to figure the answers out. On the best days, my ministry has made me feel like a kid with a new box of Legos, getting to be creative in the purest sense of the word, bringing into existence something of value where previously there was nothing. We, you and I together, have gotten to create so much over the years. Discussion groups, writing groups, a right relations team, a mental health awareness team, a young adult group, grief groups, coffee hours, happy hours, a hiking club, classes on everything from death to rising authoritarianism to the history of African Americans within Unitarian Universalism. And we have created so many Sunday assemblies full of meaning, connection, laughter, song, and beauty. What do they need? Sometimes we needed a bingo game or a birthday party. Sometimes we needed a chili cook-off or a talent show to get us through the more isolating times of the pandemic. Sometimes we needed a beautiful memorial service at which all the right things were said. Sometimes you've needed to sit on my office couch with a box of tissues. Sometimes we've just needed a really fun wedding, and we've had plenty of those. And what a joy it has been to serve in a place where new ideas can land on fertile soil. Because around here, among the congregants, the instinctive responses tend to be, tell me more, I'm in, let's go. And even though I'm preparing to say goodbye, we get to keep so much of it. You get to keep the connections and the ideas. I get to keep all that I have learned from Kelli and David and the staff. And we all get to keep our hearts that are bursting with memories. And my goodness, have we been through some stuff together. Yes. On an individual level, I've had the honor of being with some of you through difficult days, times of staggering loss and personal upheaval. And collectively, over the past 8 years, we have been through enormous changes in our country and in our city. Experiences I could not have begun to imagine when I stepped out of seminary and into this ministry. As many of you know, speaking to you on Sundays is actually a pretty small part of my job, something I've worked on only a few days a month. I've been giving the main talk about 8 times a year. But somehow, even with that infrequent schedule, my Sundays included the Sunday after the 2016 election, the first Sunday of the pandemic shutdown, the Sunday after George Floyd was murdered, and the Sunday after the Derek Chauvin verdict. What do they need? What did we need when a tyrant took the presidency, when a plague swept our nation, when racist police killings upended our city? These were hard, huge things, but we found our way through together, all of us, congregants and ministers, and I would not have wanted to go through it any other way. Even as I am so grateful for journeying with you, it is these seismic changes in our city and in our democracy that have contributed to my decision to move on from this particular ministry. I have learned so much, but I've grown about as much as I can grow in this specific container, and it's time for a new season. I've preached repeatedly about the importance of taking breaks, and I'm following my own advice as I look into new ways of being, living, writing, serving, and advocating for change. I'm hoping for a life that is both more contemplative and more relational, also with more weekends off. In the past couple of months, beloved members of FUS have sent me countless emails, cards, and comments to wish me well, and there are 2 themes: gratitude and sadness. I also am definitely feeling both of those emotions. As I prepare to say goodbye to all that has been so good, I've discovered that I am living out my own grief sermons, hearing my own words echo in my head. Grief will catch you when you least expect it. Grief is not linear. Find loved ones who will listen to you. Grief is the price of love. Sure is. I once overheard a minister, who is not here today, say this about their congregation: "I'm not there to love them, I'm there to serve them." That comment surprised me, because for me, it's always been a very strong both and. As we say here every week, love is the spirit of this place, and I can't imagine serving people I didn't love. I suppose it'd be a lot easier to leave if love were not in the mix. But for me, love is the difference between a job and a calling, between a job and a ministry. And so here we are, on a day that marks a great change. Here we are, living into the challenges of this goodbye, turning our we back into you and me. It's true that we don't get to write any more new stories together. That's another line from my talks about grief. But we part company with a great library of stories in our hearts and minds, with abundant memories and many adventures ahead for all of us. There is nothing more for me to say except thank you, thank you, thank you. I got to be your minister, and I wish you the best in all that is to come. Thank you.
All right, I'd like to welcome the choir members back up. And if you would all turn to page number 368 in the gray hymnal. I'm going to help teach you the parts first, and then we'll play the song, Now Let Us Sing. So for anybody who's got a low voice, alto or bass baritone, you can sing the low part with Maureen and I. 1, 2, 3. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of the faith within.
All right, and here's the other part. Thank you. Let's try that again. All right. Sing to the power of the faith within. Sing to the power of the faith within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the faith within.
Great.
And stand if you are able. And put the two parts together.
And there's one word that changes each time.
Yeah. Try to find it.
Here's the intro. Now let us sing. Now let us sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Let us sing to the power of the faith within. Now let us sing. Now let us sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of the hope within. Now let us sing. Now let us sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of the hope within. Now let us sing. Now let us sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of the love within. Now let us sing, sing, sing. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of the joy within.
If you will repeat with me, please, our extinguishing the chalice words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. All of these we carry in our hearts and in our minds till we are together again. After the next song, we will be going out into the world.
Happy trails to you until